This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 84. What a Year of Being Debt-Free Has Taught Me by Cait Flanders of blondeonabudget.ca.
Get ready to maximize your potential with Optimal Living Daily, the podcast that brings you the best in personal development and productivity every day of the week. Your optimal life awaits. Now here's your host, Justin Malik.
Hello, Life Optimizers. Welcome to Optimal Living Daily, the Financial Friday edition. This is Justin Malik bringing you amazing blog content from all over the world, this time from Canada. And my new author is a woman, which is nice for a change. Cait Flanders started blondeonabudget.ca back in 2011. It was a way for her to document her debt repayment journey, but the project has turned into a lot more. After paying off her debt, she adopted a minimalist lifestyle, tossed 75% of her stuff, and is currently doing a 2-year shopping ban, which ends in July of this year. She now has a podcast, she's writing a book proposal, creating a course, and a lot more, so check her out at blondeonabudget.ca. And speaking of budget, I have a free financial tracking spreadsheet that I personally created for you with my own 2 fingers, and I use it. And it comes with a video tutorial to go along with it that shows you exactly how to use it, and you can get both for free if you join my weekly newsletter. Plus, you're entered to win a book by the Minimalists every month, so to get in, text the word OPTIMAL to 44222 or visit me online at oldpodcast.com. The spreadsheet I made uses macros in Excel, which I program myself, and that means it's very heavily automated and is a really cool life experiment to see where your money comes in and goes out, and to get a quick glimpse at where you can make some changes in your life. So again, just text OPTIMAL to 44222 or visit oldpodcast.com to join. But on with the show, let's hear from our new author, Cait, and start optimizing your life. What a Year Being Debt-Free Has Taught Me by Cait Flanders of blondeonabudget.ca. 1 year ago today, I made my final debt repayment. I had just gotten back from a weekend in Tofino and was in Victoria when I checked my online banking and realized how little I still owed, $495 to be exact. Knowing my next paycheck would wipe it out, I announced, quote, 10 days till $0 on Facebook. While family and friends liked my status update, I started to wonder if I should just pull $500 out of savings to make the final payment. I imagined how good it would feel to see $0 and to have the weight that had held me back for years finally be lifted. With no hesitation, I put my shoes on, got in the car, drove to the bank and made the final payment, and I've been debt-free ever since. I'll never forget the grin that was glued to my face for the rest of that day. Seriously, you would have thought I'd won the lottery. In a way I did, but the prize was simply a fresh start. I was at, quote, debt zero, and the only direction my net worth could go was up. Unfortunately, a number of circumstances have made this past year one of my most expensive yet, and the fact that I'm debt-free has simply filled me with gratitude rather than joy. While I know I'm on the right track with my finances, I'd be lying if I said staying out of debt has been easy. In fact, it's been a bigger challenge than I ever could have imagined. But that's just one of the lessons I've learned since making my final payment. Here's what a year of being debt-free has taught me. Saving money is a skill you must practice. You would think that after 2 years of budgeting for huge debt repayments, I would have allocated those same amounts to savings and just watched my balances grow. Well, it hasn't worked out like that. Something I've recently realized is that saving money is just not as much fun as paying down debt. Yes, there was a certain high that came from knocking the total amount due down with huge payments. Beyond the fact that the motivation to save isn't as great as the motivation to pay down debt, saving is simply a skill I have yet to master. For starters, I've made it a lower priority than some other life events when it should always be at the top of my list. But I also need to put, quote, pay yourself first into practice every payday, which I haven't been. Saving your savings is even more important. Looking back, I'm actually not proud of the fact that I took money out of savings to make that last payment. Sure, I replenished the account 10 days later, but that type of behavior, e.g. being the type of person who always takes money out of savings, is something I've struggled with for as long as I can remember. Truthfully, I still do. There have been at least a handful of times where I've taken money out of savings to pay for one thing or another. It's never a lot, $25 here, $50 there, but it's enough to take a small dent out of my tiny savings account, which only pushes back my goals even further. Proper budgeting helps you avoid the temptation or need to pull from savings. Although, as I've learned, life can still get in the way. Life happens, and it's expensive. The past 12 months have been a serious test on my budgeting skills. For starters, I had to move twice, which wiped out everything I had saved in my emergency fund, so I had to start back at $0 in October. And in July, just days after I got back from my celebratory, quote, I'm debt-free trip to San Francisco, I was driving in my car when I was hit by another driver. Another thing I've learned, even if you're not at fault, car accidents are not cheap. I've been pretty hush-hush about how the accident has affected my budgets, but here it is in simplest terms. I have to pay for all my treatments up front, then submit receipts so I can be reimbursed. Do you know how quickly that adds up? Fast. Apparently life happens when you're trying to learn how to save. It would be so easy to go back into debt. I mentioned a few times before that I still find myself fighting the urge to swipe from time to time. For example, I've been in need of a new bed for a long time, but I still haven't made saving for one a priority. One day I walked into a store and tested some out so I could figure out how much I'd potentially need to save, and I nearly let the sales guy talk me into buying one at half price. Did I have the cash? Nope. But I ran the numbers to see how many months it would take me to pay off if I swiped for it. The answer? 2. I walked out with a fact sheet on the bed instead and still have yet to buy it. But this is just one example of how easy it is to get sucked into taking on debt we don't need just to purchase something we want. Being debt-free is a gift. Even though it probably sounds like my first year of being debt-free hasn't been as incredible as I would have hoped, I'm always conscious of the fact that I'd be so much worse off if I were still in debt. How much more stressful would moving so many times have been if I'd had payment due dates in the back of my mind? What if I'd been maxed out at the time of my car accident? How would I have paid for my treatments? Where would I be in my recovery right now if I couldn't afford to do everything my doctors told me to? I don't even want to think about it. I may feel the urge to swipe sometimes, but the decision to get out and stay out of debt gives me more freedom than I could have asked for. Being debt-free is a gift, and I'm grateful for it every day. What have you learned throughout and or since completing your debt repayment journey? You just listened to the post titled, What a Year of Being Debt-Free Has Taught Me by Cait Flanders of blondeonabudget.ca. If you enjoyed her post, I'd love it if you tweet both me and her about it. You can find her at blondeonabudget, and my Twitter handle is @oldpodcast. And I do plan to bring you more posts of hers in the near future. And if you'd like to take a step towards becoming debt-free like her, like I mentioned at the top of the show, I have a free Excel spreadsheet that I'm giving away with a free video tutorial to go along with it. All you have to do is text OPTIMAL to 44222 or visit oldpodcast.com and join my weekly newsletter. This podcast or blogcast or audio blog, whatever you want to call it, this whole project actually costs me money every month at this point. It's not profitable. And joining my newsletter is a great way to show your support and let me know that you like what I'm doing. So hopefully I'll see you there and in tomorrow's episode, which will feature Leo Babauta of Zen Habits, talking about dealing with your family's bad habits, which is a frequent question I see. So I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.